Yes, good morning officers. Time for today's current affairs video, 14 November 2025. Happy Children's Day to all of you. So before we start, we are going to launch a new batch on December 8, 2025. Over 3,500 selections already done under the able guidance of SRIRAM sir himself. So what are we going to offer in this? 100 days of classes, special focus on previous year questions, 50 prelims tests, recorded classes, complete CSAT and GS coverage, one-to-one personal mentorship, prelims revision booklets, 18 months of current affairs classes, and prelims hacks from UPSC toppers. Online course fees is 9,999 and offline is 14,999. So that is a whole angle. Now if you want to be the next, these are our toppers, you can join us on December 8, 2025. So use the code SRIRAM for all the good things. You will get a heavy discount also. Batch starts on December 8, please don't forget. If you have any queries, you can call 812-11-91985. So before we start, let's have a quick glance at the topics today. The topics today are, the first topic, down the corridors in the engines of digital India, very important. Next, why hepatitis A? After a long time, this issue came, therefore it becomes very important. Union slam labor policy, that's another important topic for today. And center suspends over 4,000 fertilizer distributor licenses, which is a very good thing. And India-Nepal factor link. So these are all the topics I am going to cover today. So that is what you have to understand. Now moving on, down the corridors and the engines of digital India, you have to understand this topic from a different perspective altogether. So basically we are talking about the concept that we have to understand here is, first, what are the expansions which are happening, context. To understand the context, first one, there is a lot of AI push is very heavy. That is what we have to understand. Then fintech is also increasing. There is another angle that the whole sector is trying to understand. Next, cloud usage is also increasing very beautifully. That is also a very important fact that we have to understand. And then e-commerce. E-commerce is also increasing. So these are all the increasing fields in which, so because of all these things, what is happening is there is a huge demand for cloud activities plus energy. That is a whole requirement. So if you have to run all these things, you require everything in terms of qubits, which is very, very important. So strong storage demand is also very much required. So current, if you look at the statistics part of it, current demand is, current we have only 1.4 gigawatts. That has to be expanded to 1.4 gigawatts is the current capacity right now. That has to be expanded. Sorry, 6 gigawatt, 0.6 is the current one. It has to be expanded to 1.4 gigawatts. That is the first point. That is the targets that we have. The targets that we have is this much. That is what we have to understand. And then projected hotspots 2 gigawatts in the next 3 years. 2 gigawatts in the coming 3 years. Focus is on Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Noida. All these places will become the future hubs. So that becomes very, very important. So this is what we have to understand. So if you observe this one, so if you understand this, the AWS services has also increased a lot. So companies like Google, Microsoft and all these things have also increased. So their operations, because US is not very, very favorable these days, that is a major reason. So that creates a massive responsibility of almost about 25,000 crores which is required for this expansion. So we are looking for a model of rapid expansion. That is what we have to understand. Rapid expansion is the overall idea behind it. That is the first thing that we are planning to do. Okay. Now, the whole point is we have to do a lot of automation. So for all these activities, we require a lot of automation which is required. So automation is the key thing. So for which India AI mission, very, very important. So that is what we have to clearly understand from this beautiful perspective. So Karnataka, UP, Tamil Nadu, all these things are increasing. So if we have to build a huge reserve for we have to build a huge reserve for an AI-based ecosystem because that is the future. That is what we have to clearly understand from this perspective. So, if you understand this, you will understand the whole of the rod. So, that is the whole analysis of the article which we have to get by. So, for this, I have given you the notes clearly. Growth and scale of India's data center, 1.5 gigawatts, cloud service, fintech economics. These are the regions. Data center in Vizag, Maharashtra, 25,000 crore. Then infrastructure and operations. Chillers are required because you have to contain the heat. So power usage effectiveness, PU, it is a ratio between what is being used and what is coming out. That is called power usage. So no major subsidies are not there. So states like UP, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka competing with dedicated policies is also there. So 70% of the market concentration, 28 to 30 months. So these are all the major points that you have to understand. End of the video, you have mains as well as prelims questions. Please try to answer them. Next important topic, hepatitis A deserves a place in India's universal immunization program, which is very important. So first, changing epidemiology, your notes is very important. Reduced early life exposure due to improved sanitation, so which is a very good thing. Natural childhood immunity is also decline, so that is a very bad thing. So seroprevalence dropped from greater than 90% to 60% in major cities. Now larger susceptible population to adolescent adults is very, very important. So clusters reported in Kerala, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, these are the major points. So complication rates in older age groups is increasing very much. Now say acute liver failure during outbreaks is also very, very dangerous. No specific antiviral therapy is available, that's also very, very bad. So these are all the major points that you have to understand. Vaccine, if you look at it, live attenuated and inactivated vaccines are available. Protection available from 90 to 95%. Long-term immunity for 15 to 20 years or longer is a major problem. Indigenous vaccine BioVac A with proven safety for over 20 years. So that is a very, very beautiful point. Now, single dose live vaccine suitable for mass programs and faster rise in hepatitis A susceptibility than typhoid. So that is a very, very bad thing. And severe disease increasingly seen in unprotected adults. That's also another thing that we are observing. So chala kanpartundi. So strong performance on burden efficacy and durability and cost efficiency and overall ga point cheppadam jarugutundi. So that is a major point that we have to understand. So notes very important. Notes lunch points lunch meer mains ki kavalsina sources ani doruktayi. So that is what you have to understand. So end of the video lo you have mains as well as prelims questions. Please try to answer them. Next important topic for today is unions which are there slam labor policy for ignoring ground realities. So if you understand this, so Central Trade Unions of India except Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh rejected the Shram Shakti Niti 2025. So there is a turf between this and that. So rejection announced during tripartite meeting chaired by the Union Labour Minister. That is very important point. 10 major trade union federations criticized the proposed labour policy. That's also very important. Policy viewed as ideological shift, redefining labour not as right but as sacred duty. So that is the whole point. All these points are very, very crisp points which are very important, and that is what you have to take. Next, policy framework interpreted as moralization of labour instead of recognizing workers' rights. So it is nothing but moralization. Ante emotional dialogue kodutuna gaani main matter cheptaledu. That is the whole point. So moved viewed as reversing progress made in worker struggles for wages, justice and protection ani clear ga cheppadam jarugutundi. That is the whole major point. Centralization of authority, governance issues ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి. Centralization of authority జరుగుతుంది. Powers of the state governments భయంకరంగా పెరుగుతుంది. So labor being on the concurrent list makes the state role essential, which union says it is weakened. Union claimed that the policy rebrands unimplemented labor codes and news vision and clear గా చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. So the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh expressed an approval of the draft policy, which is very important. Other trade unions demanded immediate convening of Indian Labour Conference అని చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. That is a major point. Collective statements highlighted fears of rolling back more than a century of labor's reforms ఏదైతే తీసుకొచ్చామో అవన్నీ మళ్ళీ రివర్స్ అవుతాయని బేసికల్గా గవర్నెన్స్ ఇష్యూస్ వల్ల అందరికీ చాలా ప్రాబ్లం అయింది. సో ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద వీడియోలో మెయిన్స్ as well as prelims question ఉంది. ప్లీజ్ ట్రై టు ఆన్సర్ దట్. నెక్స్ట్, సెంటర్ సస్పెండ్స్ ఓవర్ 4,000 ఫర్టిలైజర్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ లైసెన్స్ ఆన్ హోర్డింగ్ చార్జెస్. హోర్డింగ్ అంటే తెలుసు కదా, దాచేస్తారు, దాచేసి సప్లై తగ్గిస్తారు. సప్లై తగ్గిస్తే ప్రైస్ పెరుగుతుంది, డిమాండ్ పెరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది, సప్లై తగ్గిపోతూ ఉంటుంది, అప్పుడు ప్రైస్ ఆఫ్ ద ప్రోడక్ట్ పెరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. సో ఇలాంటివి చేశారు కాబట్టి వాళ్ళ లైసెన్స్ అన్ని కూడా సెంటర్ క్యాన్సిల్ చేయడం జరిగింది. సో ఎన్ఫోర్స్మెంట్ యాక్షన్ ఏం చేసిందంటే యూనియన్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఫర్టిలైజర్స్ క్యాన్సిల్డ్ ఆర్ సస్పెండెడ్ ఇన్ని రిజిస్ట్రేషన్స్ 4,298 లైసెన్సెస్ అండ్ రిజిస్ట్రేషన్స్ చేసింది. యాక్షన్ టేకెన్స్ అగైన్స్ బ్లాక్ మార్కెటింగ్, హోర్డింగ్ అండ్ డైవర్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఫర్టిలైజర్ స్టాక్, విచ్ ఇస్ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. Earlier 8,777 showcase notice were issued for erring traders. That is a major point. A total of 547 FIRs registered across the country, clearly it is showing. So nationwide drive jarugutundi ippudu. Department conducted a coordinated enforcement drive with Union Agricultural Ministry, which is very important. Aim was to secure that national fertilizer supply chain ahead of demand cycles is also very very important. So these are the major points that we have to understand from this. Next, center coordination. If you observe, state governments collaborated through the joint raids and inspections that was done. District authorities carried out legal measures to curb malpractices. Combined operations target storage points, distribution centers and transport routes. That is a whole game. So scale of inspections చూసుకుంటే officials conducted 3,154 inspections and raids nationwide. So these are the works of the people. Checks focused on diversion ఎక్కడ జరుగుతుంది, overpricing ఎందుకు జరుగుతుంది, stock manipulation ఎందుకు జరుగుతుంది, and finally illegal transport ఎందుకు జరుగుతుందని క్లియర్గా చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. So inspections covered rural as well as urban networks to identify the supply chain disruptions which are happening. That is the whole point that we have to clearly understand. So ఇది మనం జాగ్రత్తగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే it will be super very important. That is a whole game. So దీనికి కావాల్సిన నోట్స్ మనము end of the video lo you have mains as well as prelims questions. Please try to answer them. That is very important. Aithe let's move on to India Nepal Inc Pact setup tribe, very important for international relations. So if you observe this, India and Nepal amended Treaty of Transport to improve rail based freight movement loads. Amendments cover movement of cargo including bulk cargo between Jogbani in India and Viratnagar in Nepal. Very important. Map ki చాలా important, mapping చేసుకోవాలి. Exchange of amendment letters took place in New Delhi. Discussions held between India's Commerce and Industry and Ministry and Nepal's Ministry. Industry, Commerce as well as Supplies, that is what is being done. Meeting focused on updating existing transit arrangements, which is very very important. Both sides emphasize smoother procedures and faster cargo clearance. That is the expected cost for it. So that is a game that they are playing. So new transit corridors ఎక్కడ ఉన్నాయి? ఈ transit corridors అనేది చాలా important. Mapping కి చాలా important transit corridors. So అది మనం జాగ్రత్తగా గ్రహించుకోవాలి. సో లిబరలైజేషన్ ఎక్స్టెండెడ్ టు 3 మేజర్ కారిడార్స్, కోల్కతా అండ్ జోగ్బాని, కోల్కతా నవాతాన్వా విచ్ ఇస్ ఇన్ సునౌలి, విశాఖపట్నం నవతాన్వా సునాలి. Corridors aimed at reducing logistic bottlenecks as well as easing border movement. That is a whole game. So amendment seeks to strengthen multinational connectivity using ports, rail as well as road. That is a major thing that we are planning. Aims to improve Nepal's access to Indian ports and third country trade. That is a whole game. Next, expected to cut transport costs and transit delays for Nepalese exporters as well as importers అని ఓవరాల్ గా చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. సో దీనికి కావాల్సిన మెయిన్స్ as well as prelims questions చూద్దాం. Mains and prelims questions along with key I have provided. So first let's check out with reference to India's emerging data center ecosystem. Consider the following statements. Power usage effectiveness గురించి, hyperscale data centers గురించి. India AI mission includes GPU access for researchers. So which of them is correct? Next, consider the following statements regarding hepatitis A in India. Zero prevalence, biovac, hepatitis A vaccination గురించి స్టేట్మెంట్ ఇచ్చారు. ఏది కరెక్టో రైటో మీరు చెప్పగలగాలి. Next, with reference to labor policy governance in India, consider the following. Labor is included in Union List, Essential Commodities Act, centralization of labor. ఈ మూడిట్లో ఏది కరెక్ట్? Following statements about fertilizer regulation, fertilizer control authorities, district authorities and all these things. So with reference to amendments, India Nepal గురించి చూసుకుంటే what is the whole issue about it? దాని మీద క్వశ్చన్. Next, these are key. దీనికి కావాల్సిన మెయిన్స్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఒకసారి చెక్ చేద్దాం. ఫస్ట్, డిస్కస్ హౌ ఇండియా ఇస్ ఎక్స్పాండింగ్ డేటా సెంటర్ ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ని DPI ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్సెస్ ఇన్ డిజిటల్ ఎకానమీ, ఎనర్జీ ప్లానింగ్ అండ్ నేషనల్ సెక్యూరిటీ అండ్ రీజనల్ డెవలప్మెంట్. సో దీన్ని డిస్కస్ చేయమన్నారు అమాంగ్ దీస్ 3 angles. So that is a point. Next, changing epidemiology of hepatitis A in India demands a reassessment of immunization priorities. Critically analyze చేయమంటున్నారు దీన్ని. You have to critically analyze this. That is a whole game. So the criticism of new labor policy highlights deeper issues of centralization, workers' rights and historical struggles. దాన్ని ఎగ్జామిన్ చేయమని చెప్తున్నారు బేసికల్గా. Evaluate the effectiveness of recent enforcement actions against fertilizer diversion and hoarding in ensuring agricultural supply in చైన్ ఇంటిగ్రిటీ అని ఓవరాల్గా దీన్ని ఎవాల్యుయేట్ చేయమంటున్నారు అండర్ దీస్ అగ్రికల్చర్ సప్లై చైన్ నెట్వర్క్ ఎట్లా మెయింటైన్ చేస్తారు. అండ్ హౌ డస్ ది అమెండ్మెంట్ టు ఇండియా నేపాల్ ట్రీటీ ట్రాన్సిట్ డీపెన్ క్రాస్ బార్డర్ కనెక్టివిటీ అండ్ రీషేప్ రీజనల్ ట్రేడ్ అండ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్. సో దీన్ని హౌ అని అడుగుతున్నారు. బేసికల్గా ఫర్ కనెక్టివిటీ ఇష్యూస్ అండ్ రీజనల్ ట్రేడ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ని ఎట్లా ఇంప్రూవ్ చేసుకుంటారని ఓవరాల్గా ఎసెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆర్టికల్ చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద మేజర్ పాయింట్స్ దట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్. సో that's all for today. Shravan Patikala signing off. Bye bye.